Hey guys, if you're a football fan and you follow the best talents in the world's top leagues, then Phil Foden's name is definitely familiar to you. This guy is literally rewriting the history of Manchester City and English football as a whole. Over the past few years, he's come a long way from a young talent to one of the most dangerous players in the Premier League and all of Europe. Today, we'll figure out how an ordinary boy from Manchester turned into a world-class star, what qualities make him unique, and why even seasoned defenders are afraid to face him on the pitch. If you're interested in success stories, tactical genius, and incredible goals, stay with us. Phil Foden was born in Manchester in 2000 in a family where football was not just a hobby, but a way of life. His father, Pete Foden, was a professional footballer, so the boy breathed football from his earliest childhood. This gave him a huge advantage. He absorbed knowledge about the game not only at training sessions, but also at home, analyzing matches with his dad. At 8 years old, Phil joined Manchester City's academy, where young talents receive complete immersion in a football environment. Here he learned not just to score goals, but to understand the very essence of the game. Coaches immediately noticed his outstanding abilities, incredible coordination, understanding of space, and most importantly, his football intelligence. Foden wasn't the physically strongest or fastest, but he was the smartest. His progress in the academy was remarkable. By 15 to 16 years old, he was already playing for the club's youth teams and attracting attention with his technique and game vision. But Foden was also fortunate to have Pep Guardiola as his mentor. The Spanish coach, known for his demanding nature and attention to detail, saw in the young Englishman excellent material for realizing his football philosophy. 2016, a turning point for Foden. Pep Guardiola arrives at Manchester City, and an era begins that will change not only the club, but English football itself. Guardiola is known for his method of working with young talents. He demands perfection in everything, from tactical positioning to passes accurate to the centimeter. This worked in Foden's favor, but it didn't come easy for him. His first years under Pep were a test. The coach was a maximalist and gave the young player no allowances. However, Phil showed perseverance and willingness to learn. He listened carefully to instructions, analyzed mistakes, and constantly improved his game. Under Guardiola's guidance, Foden began to understand not just positions on the field, but the meaning of each movement, the logic of pressing, intensity, and game transformation. Guardiola saw in him the ideal player for his system. Foden possessed exactly the qualities the coach needed: technical ability, intelligence, and readiness to sacrifice personal ambitions for the team. Gradually, Phil received more playing time, then became a regular starter, and by 2018-2019 was an integral part of Guardiola's system. Now let's figure out what makes Foden so special. First, his left foot. If you've ever seen how he controls the ball with his left foot, then you know what I'm talking about. Phil can execute any shot, pass, or trick with this foot the way most players use their right. This gives him a huge advantage because it's harder for defenders to predict his movements. Second, his positioning and understanding of space. Foden isn't just a winger who stands on the line and waits for the ball to come to him. No, he actively participates in building play, drops into midfield, helps in defense, and creates space for other players with his movement. This understanding of the game makes him useful even when he doesn't have the ball. Third, his dribbling technique. Foden possesses a rare combination of speed and precision in dribbling. He can beat a defender not through pace, but through the quality of his skill execution. His movements are economical and effective. Every step is calculated. Fourth, his versatility. Pep can place Foden in almost any position in the front line: winger, attacking midfielder, even on the flank. And everywhere, Phil will be maximally useful to the team. This flexibility in the system allows the coach to create different combinations and adapt to opponents. Fifth, his finishing. Many young talents work well with the ball, but when it comes to the final shot, they often get lost. Foden, however, has an excellent sense of timing: when to shoot, when to pass, when to make a selfish pass. His stats for goals and assists speak for themselves. The 2020-2021 season was a breakthrough for Foden. He scored 6 goals and provided 11 assists in the Premier League, but most importantly, he became the player everyone relied on. In this season, Manchester City wins the title with a huge margin, and Foden plays a key role in this success. But his real rise came in 2021 to 2022. It was just a fantastic season for Phil. He accumulated a huge number of points. His pass finishing combinations were simply art. Foden became City's main weapon and received enormous attention from the press and fans. At World Cups and European Championships, he demonstrates brilliant football, and everyone understands that this is not just a promising talent, but already a world-class star. In the 2022-2023 season, Foden continues his upward trajectory. He participates in Manchester City's historic triumph when the club becomes champions of England, Europe, and wins the League Cup. This was an era when City played simply magnificent football, and Foden was one of the key links in this system. At the national level, Foden also becomes a leader of the English national team. He participates in European and World Championships, represents his country with honor, and shows that he can play at the highest level against any opponent. Interestingly, despite his fame and success, Foden has remained humble and focused on football. He doesn't like the media circus, doesn't create any loud scandals, and doesn't seek attention beyond the pitch. For many, this might be boring, but for true football fans, this is a sign of professionalism. Phil has long-term relationships, has his own family, and balances being a world-class star with being an ordinary person. He treats those who have helped him in his career with respect, including Pep Guardiola, whom he calls one of the best coaches in the world. Another interesting point, his work on himself. Foden constantly improves, watches game recordings, analyzes his mistakes, and works on weak areas. This inner motivation, the desire to be better, this is exactly what distinguishes truly great players from good ones. Often, fans compare Foden with great wingers of the past: Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Vinicius Jr. And this is fair because Phil is in the same league of quality and influence on the game. However, Foden differs in his style. If Ronaldo is power and physicality, Messi is magic and artistry, then Foden is intelligence and system. His influence on football goes beyond personal achievements. He shows the next generation of players that in modern football, you can be successful without being the fastest or the strongest. You can win by using your brain, understanding of the game, and technical mastery. This changes the perception of what an ideal footballer should be. Under Guardiola's influence and influenced by global football trends, Foden represents a new type of midfielder forward who can play equally well in defense, midfield, and attack. This versatility becomes a valuable asset in modern football. Of course, Foden's path wasn't all rosy. Like any professional athlete, he faced difficulties. One of the most serious is injury problems. Over the years, Phil has suffered various injuries that have sidelined him for lengthy periods. For a young player, this is always stressful because there's always a risk of losing your place in the team. Another difficulty is the pressure of expectations. When you're young, talented, and playing under the guidance of one of the world's best coaches, enormous pressure falls upon you. Mistakes aren't forgiven. Every match is analyzed. Every pass is discussed. Foden had to psychologically cope with this pressure, which he did quite successfully. It was also challenging for him to rise to a level where competition is even fiercer. If he was a star in the youth teams, in the first team he had to prove his place every day. Competition with experienced players, adaptation to a higher level of intensity, all of this required maximum effort from Foden. As of 2025-2026, Phil Foden remains one of the best players in the world. He continues to play for Manchester City and demonstrates consistently high performance. His contract with the club remains long-term, and there are no signs that he wants to leave the Etihad. In the national team, Foden also remains a key player. His experience and quality play an important role in English football's plans on the international stage. We see that he's constantly called up to the squad and is one of the reliable players the coach can count on in important matches. As for the future, Foden has many more years of career ahead of him. He's at peak age when physical capabilities combine with experience and tactical understanding. Ahead of him are probably more heights, possibly new titles with Manchester City, participation in world and European championships. There's also the question of his transfer. Many top clubs in the world are probably following his career. However, it seems Foden is content in Manchester and isn't looking to leave anytime soon. His relationship with Guardiola is special, and the club gives him everything necessary for development. Phil Foden isn't just a footballer. He's a symbol of a new generation in English football. His story shows that talent plus the right environment plus hard work, success. He's come a long way from a young academy talent to one of the best players in the world, and this journey was unique and inspiring. What makes Foden special? It's a combination of rare qualities: technical mastery, tactical intelligence, versatility, humility, and continuous desire to improve. He shows that in modern football, success is achieved not only through physical abilities, but through understanding of the game. His influence on football extends beyond his own achievements. Young players look at Foden and understand how to develop, what to focus on, how to work under the guidance of a great coach. He inspires an entire generation. If you enjoy quality, intelligent football, if you appreciate technique and game understanding, then Phil Foden is your player. His matches are always a guarantee of high-level, interesting moments and beautiful football. And it seems the best is yet to come for him. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video.